Bet. So, T Walker,
Professor X.
Yeah, man, my brother. I appreciate you. So as y'all know, we have this Night Vision mixtape, which my brother Professor X, who's a legendary person, but as well as a DJ and professor curating vibes, for the Carolinas. If y'all have caught one of his sets, if you've seen him somewhere, if you've seen him behind the ones and twos, for a number of different artists. But I mean, Troy have been moving with him a lot lately, then you already know how he puts it down in a space, in a building, when it comes to these vibes, when it comes to making sure people move their feet, when it comes to making sure that people in the space feel that hip hop and that boom bap, making sure that there's never a dull moment, making sure he ever put all them vibes in it that he needs to. If you've ever caught that, you've been blessed. If you haven't, then you got to put that on your bucket list, something that you check off before you leave this earth and reach another turf. You got to catch Professor X live and in action. You dig that. But he blessed the Night Vision mixtape, so I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate it. I need that as a drop.
Hey, no doubt.
I need that as a drop,
Hey,
bro.
you got
That's
it. Whatever
hard.
your flavor, neighbor, it's yours to cook with. You dig what I'm saying?
That's hard. Thank you.
So,
yeah, man.
So first, before we get into the tape,
yeah,
your Instagram name says Professor X, the producer.
For sure.
So tell us about your production. How did you get into production?
So I've been making beats, well over 15 years. You know what I mean? That's how I started out with, actually making mix CDs for the homies and stuff like that. And being in band, marching band, I tell you, man, my band director one day, right? She, we was on our way to a jazz band concert, and I'm playing late registration on my headphones. And she was like, "Yo, is that Tower of Power that you playing?" I'm like, "Nah, Miss Graham, this is late registration. It's Kanye." And she was like, "Nah, that's Tower of Power." I'm like, "Nah, Miss Graham, this is late registration. I got the CD right here." She's like, "Wait till we get back to the band room." She played the original sample for me. And from then on, I had to know like where that sample came from, who chopped it up.
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of got me hooked to like soul samples and chopping samples and making beats and stuff like that. So shout out to Miss Gray, Southern High School.
For sure.
But yeah, man, so I've been doing that for a minute, bro, and that kind of led me to the position to DJ as well. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to sell beats. It was really hard to sell beats, so I started adding acapellas to my beats. And then when I started DJing, I would just playing my own stuff. Yeah, so that's how
and you kill them. You know what I mean? The last show that we did together, at the Flatiron, like, somebody was like, "Yo, who is this DJ?" And I'm like, "That's Professor X. You never seen him?" But like, I don't think I had ever experienced one of your sets like that myself. I'd seen you places. I might have like heard you. Definitely at the Black Farmers Market. Sets with Troya. You know what I mean? And different things like that. But that was a night where I was like, it was like being fully immersed in what you were doing, because I was there experiencing you for hours in between people's sets. But that whole beginning set of just doing your thing, so nah, that was a vibe. You said you were in the band though, so I see you got this trumpet over here, and I remember coming over here and getting the story of the trumpet. But what was it about this brass instrument that influenced you musically?
Man, it was actually my grandfather, man. He was a musician. He used to be in a doo-wop band back in the day. Doo-wop. Right. I swear, him and his brothers, they before he went to the military, he was in a doo-wop band. And being raised by my grandfather, he used to always bring home instruments all the time. And I'm looking at them as toys. Not realizing, man, this dude trying to set me up to be a musician.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, my first instrument was a trumpet. And then like right when I got to middle school, that's when I'm like, well, the girls, they like saxophone.
Yeah.
I thought the saxophone was just cool. I was like, that's gonna keep me the girls right there. So I picked up the sax, and I was playing sax from like 6 all the way up to like senior year of high school. And then from alto sax, the barry saxophone, to the tuba, to the trombone. Yeah, man, I was all band geek, bro. For real.
I played the baritone and the tuba.
Come on now.
Yeah, it was a vibe. What was that musical journey like for you? Just throughout that time period of your life.
It was a blessing. It kept me out of trouble. You know what I mean? Because I was too busy to get into trouble. Like most of my guys who was like good dudes but got into stuff, it's just because they was bored.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I thank God for Miss Grant, man, because she kept me in my friends busy all the time, from marching band to concert to like we always having some type of concert going on, or we got to be at this such and such place or whatever. So I was too tired to do anything else. You know what I mean? Of course, I play football too as well, but like band was just life for me, man.
Yeah,
it was just life, and I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. Like I got my kids on it now; they ain't got no choice but to be in the band.
Yeah,
for sure.
Nah, that's real. You know, the things that our parents or our influences, because my aunt was the one that got me into band. She was like, anything you do musically, I'll financially support.
There you go.
You know, so I got into the band. Me and my cousin, she paid for us to go to Hampton's band camp.
Word.
That was a crazy experience in itself, because I went to White Oak High School in Jacksonville, and our band was like a traditional band, you know. So me growing up, she went to A&T, so we would go to the Aggie Eagle Classics and things like that. So you would experience the band.
Yeah.
You know, that was a very intricate part of the game. We there for the game.
The game cool, yeah.
People there for the band.
Yeah.
So like to experience that band was crazy. Then for me to be in like a traditional band where we and like, you know, them traditional steps.
The military, man, bro.
It was kind of weird for me, and then to go to Hampton's band camp, and then to come back and be like, dang, like culturally it was so different.
Absolutely.
But I came back playing new music. You know, I can't even think of the songs we played other than I remember us playing some ESPN joint, and I remember we played I can't remember. I think it was a Frankie Beverly and Maze joint. I can't remember, but I came back to my band class playing those songs.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Where'd you learn that?" And I'm like, "I went to Hampton's band camp, you know, during the summer."
Yeah.
You know, but these activities that we did in school that influenced us up to this age, that kept us out of trouble, are still like carrying us, you know, on. You know what I mean? Like you said, you pass this down to your kids. So it's a part of your legacy. The same thing that you say your grandfather was bringing those instruments home. You legacy.
Same thing.
You know, but it's crazy. Like we think of like resource and things like that. You had these things at your hand that some other people didn't have access to, and while you had an opportunity to view them as toys, you got a chance to play with them as toys until it eventually became like your career.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's crazy that you broke it down like that, because I didn't really understand. I was just, like I said, man, just like toys to me. You know what I mean? Like just all around the house, just laid out keyboards everywhere. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, I'm just gonna pick this up today and just mess around with this or whatever. You know what I mean? And then he'll come in, he'll look at me, he might say a few words, and then he just go on about his business. You know what I mean?
It's the essence of being a product of your environment.
Absolutely.
For sure that.
Absolutely, because I know a lot of dudes, you know, who are product of the environment. Could be great at whatever they did, but you know, just the situations, the circumstances. So thank God for my grandfather.
So as you transition from a musician into, not even transition from, once a musician, always a musician. You can pick up an instrument and get active.
For sure.
And you took in musicianship to another level, which was production.
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
Man, yeah, so that was my boy Cam. I say about 16. That's when, you know, Fruity Loops was popping and stuff like that. And there was a game actually on the PlayStation back in the day called, was it Music Generator, something like that. And my godbrother had it. And I used to go to his house every day just to play that game, to make a beat. I would skip football practice just to go make a beat. Literally go skip a football practice, and then go have to suffer for it the next day. You know what I mean? And so that led me to go to the audio engineering school, School of Communication Arts, which is now, I think it's called Living Arts College or something like that, out there in Wake Forest. And that was cool. That was real cool. And during that process, my boy Cameron, he was making beats. He was already out there. I used to go to his house every night. I didn't even have a laptop at the time, but I used to go to his house, sit and watch him make beats, ask questions all the time, just be kind of, you know, a fly on the wall too at the same time, you know what I mean? And then you want to try, bro? Hell yeah. So like I was just hooked, man. Like it really changed my life, dude. And then I go back. I was probably making, when I finally got my equipment, I probably was making, I don't know how many beats a day. They was all trash, but it didn't matter. You know what I mean? I was just grateful for the opportunity at the time, man. So yeah, Cameron, he really looked out. To this day, you know what I'm saying? Like I still go play beats for him right now. Just like, hey man, what you think of this? You know what I mean? So Cameron really looked out for you, boy. Yeah.
That's dope. I'm just thinking about everything you said, even the proximity to these instruments, to, you know, people showing you different things. The reason why I rap to this day, you know, of course, my aunt introduced me to like the instrumentation part of it. I grew up singing in the church choir.
Same.
But like even while I was in high school, I was an athlete, played basketball, you know, so on the bus we'd be freestyling and things like that. But I was there was an older group, you know what I mean, the people that I hung around, and they had this rap group called the Versatile Kings. And it was dope to just be around them, even though I didn't like get to be a part of their studio sessions. I would be one of the people that would first hear their music. Like they literally leave a studio session and their house was around the corner, and they'd call and I'd or be on my bike, and I'm ready to hear what it is they created, because it was the experience of, man, like, is this how rappers and singers really do this? You know, like, I know these people that just left a studio and came here, but I was around that, and that influence, that feeling. I was a basketball player, but that feeling was almost synonymous. As much as I loved basketball, I loved the music, even though I wasn't even creating it at that time, but it put that drive in me to be like, what's this like?
Let me ask you this. When did you know, like, okay, I'm gonna take this full time. Like, I can do this. What was that switch for you?
When I got to Winston-Salem State.
Okay.
I went to college, and I knew a number of different things that I wanted to go for. I was like, I had took some sports medicine classes in high school. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go here and do that. But I realized I had to take so many science classes. And I was there for business management, but it was almost like, I look at the synchronicity of just all things. And at that time, I wasn't necessarily looking at it in the way that I look at it now. But my first roommate, who ended up moving out 2 weeks later because he couldn't take the heat of Brown Hall and all that, but he was in the choir. My next roommate, my guy, Tony Dice, who I got to reach out to and find him. You know what I mean? Like, we were connected.
Tony, we're looking for you.
Yeah, my guy, Tony Dice, he was my roommate, but like, I came back to the room one day, my man in there setting up, and none of his bags of clothes were unpacked. The only thing he had unpacked was his studio equipment.
That's hard.
That's all he had unpacked was his studio equipment. And he was literally recording in the room every day. So, like, that first week, he was literally in there just making beats and recording. And I was already like, oh, hold on. This dude is my roommate. I was just around these dudes, you know what I mean, who was making music, who, like, I couldn't, you know, get to their studio sessions, but I got to experience it. I got to pass their music around at schools. I hosted parties at their house, and we played all type of, so I'm like, this dude is my roommate. So I'm coming back from playing ball, he in there recording. I come back from the calf, he in there recording. I'm like, this nigga go to class?
Right.
You feel me? But eventually I started recording in there with him, and it just was so fluent. And the name of my first mixtape was Thinking Out Loud. And I was like, as I was recording it in there, I was like, I can really do this. And during orientation at Winston-Salem State, I was like in a few different freestyle battles or whatever, and I had like executed, like I was masterful with it. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that, like, at that time I was such a great rapper, I was a great thinker. You know, so I was able to come up with things that other people weren't coming up with. So that savvy way of things, and I was like, all right, if I can pull this off, I can really do this. But I was also thinking of the people that I admired, like Jay-Z, Wayne, Kanye, Andre 3000, and how savvy they were. And I was like, I can really do that. So I started recording more and more with Tony Dice. I had the Thinking Out Loud mixtape. Then 2000 and Grind.
So I'm gonna have to go back and find where these at right now.
I ain't even heard them in a minute. The only person that got them is my cousin that's in California, and that's because he's an archivist. Like, I don't even know if he would label himself that, But like essentially, like you know how you used to have like them flip books where you had your CDs in them.
What you talking about, bro?
Of course, all these records and things around here. You got
him. About, bro?
He got so many of them problems.
What you talking about, bro?
And he got the. I mean, and sometimes he won't even let people touch them.
I understand.
You know, so I mean, he was collecting all of those, but he's got an iPod that's got all my old music up there. And every once in a while, he'll like tag me on Instagram because he'll have it connected to his car some while and be playing some old song. And I'm like, yo, I haven't heard that song in over a decade. Yeah, but like, so if anybody ever want to, you know,
I need
eventually one day he gonna be able to put that on the market for like a couple mil.
You feel listen, me? Nardwuar gonna find him, bro.
For sure. Nardwuar. Whenever you wanna holler at me, just know you gotta find Cuz, and he'll probably be able to give you, right. You know, some information.
For sure.
But yeah, that's what I knew, and I started pushing it around campus, and like I linked with my guy Neiman Marcus, who was a producer on campus.
I heard of him.
And I started working with him more, and then you know Cheddar Chap, he's Ron Beatty now. Yeah. But like I knew him from back home. Okay. My aunt was one of his teachers. He went to Jones Senior High School, so I knew him from singing in the church choir. So we reconnected, and it was like, yo, we might as well be doing this together. Long story short, and from there, that's how I got into the circuit of performing in Raleigh, Durham. You know, in all these different places. Same people that I'm reconnecting with now was like people that I met then at that time. But that's when I was like, I can do this. Yeah. I can do this. Like,
that's amazing, bro.
I'm not just somebody that likes to rap. I can rap. And like, I'm able to connect with people and I can do this.
On the independent level too, bro.
For sure.
That's a grind, my boy. That's a grind what you doing. Like, dude, when I first saw you, it was at the Beats and Mars Festival. Mm-hmm. And this maybe 2017, 2018, something like that. I forgot the date. And I'm like, yo, who is this cat right here spitting? And then he hit with the spoken word. I'm like, wait a minute. Dog. Like, and then we were just connecting. And your energy was just dope. Like, you just a cool brother. And I'm like, yo, I like this dude. You know what I mean? And then you had, I forgot what mixtape it was, but it was on a whole different platform. It wasn't on no big.
It was on Dystopia.
Yeah. It was on Dystopia. And I'm like, okay. Hold on, I like this. I done put my homie on. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, check this guy out right here, bro. Dude, T Walker's crazy, man. He done downloaded the joint, bought the joint, man. Like,
for sure.
It was different. It was dope seeing that, bro. Like, oh man, we ain't gotta put our stuff on DistroKid or nah, you can get this money this way. Mm-hmm. So you kind of showed me something else, bro. You know what I mean? How to get the grind another way, man. I just want to say I appreciate that.
Nah, for sure. You know what I mean? I appreciate you supporting it and passing it off, you know, to other people. And I've always been one to take like risk, you know, and not that it was really like a risk to put it on that platform. For one, it was a platform that like somebody from my hometown created. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like my guy Ricky Hill, who I went to high school with, his brother Patrick Hill created Dystopia. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he put me on one day and he was like, listen, this thing isn't as big as it's going to be yet. We just getting started. Yeah. But I want you to be one of the first artists up here, and I'm going to grandfather you in as an artist. So as we develop this thing, no matter what, you good. And he booked me for A3C that they had in Atlanta one weekend, you know, on their stage. And it's just been love ever since. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to rep this thing like it's my own. Yeah. And I know, like, it would have been so much easier for people to access my project on some of these other platforms. But I was like, nah, I'm going to direct people here. You know what I mean? Because when
you pushed it that way. Not to cut you off, I apologize. Sure. But you pushed it that way because I'm like, the dude was already dope. I'm going to check his music out. You know what I mean? And I know people like myself who've done the same thing. You know what I mean? They're going to go find it. Like, if you really are a fan of the music, you're going to go find it. Mm-hmm. Even if it's on a different platform besides the typical Spotify, Tidal. No disrespect, none of that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes if you feed it to them, they can come. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, if they want it.
If they want it, they'll definitely come to it. So, nah, man, that was a genius move. Genius marketing move, dog. For sure.
And I'm still rocking with them to this day, and we still doing more things. Sunshine Anderson bought one of my shirts off of their platform.
See what I mean?
So you never know who's on the platform.
Shout out to Charlotte.
You feel me? For sure. All right, so musician playing the instruments to producer to DJ. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that transition and what this world is like for you.
Oh man, DJing, man. So let me tell you, I never knew this until I started DJing. My father used to DJ. Real talk. And my mom told me this after my first gig. I was in Wilmington, and I was DJing for like one of my best friends for his frat party. They had a little boat cruise, and then like a little after party, whatever. So I'm DJing or whatever, did my thing. And then, I called my mom up the next day to brag, like, hey, Mom, I just did a little after party DJ joint. I'm all hyped. And she was like, your father used to DJ. And I'm like, what? Word? She was like, yeah, that's how I met him at the club, Club Gemini. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Why do you not? So I guess it was always in me, you know what I mean? But, yeah, and then I was doing it for a little bit, and I stopped, because I was just doing it off the laptop for a long time. I didn't have no equipment or nothing like that. It was just straight up virtual DJ. And I want to say, I forgot what year it was. I picked up some equipment. It was like a little SB3 or whatever, and I was just messing around with that for a little while. And the pandemic happened. And during the pandemic, I got laid off, and I was like, you know what? Let me go at this full time. Let me really just buckle down and like really go at my DJing skills really full time on this. And so I started just picking it up, messing around with it every day, and slowly but surely, I was just kind of building some more. And like I said, I was already producing. That's when I was started adding my remixes and stuff to my set, to my DJ set. And shout out to Crystal, because Crystal actually kind of gave me the opportunity to perform on a big level, because I was doing like small things.
Crystal will put you on.
You know what I mean?
You feel me?
Shout out to the Queen Curator, Crystal Taylor, man. She put me on, dude. She gave me like my first big deal, at the Black Farmers Market. You know what I mean? And I'm hella nervous. I'm hella sweating. It's already hot. And yeah, dude, I did that, and it felt good. It was a great time, man, doing that stuff like that. And I was just doing it over and over. And then I want to say, outside of that, somebody was hitting me up about some gigs. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I love your set. Da 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 da. Do you want to come DJ a wedding for me? And outside of that wedding, that something else happened, and then something else happened, and it was just like I forgot what was the something affair. I forgot what it's called. But that kind of led to everything else, you know what I mean? So shout out to Crystal, because they kind of really put me in a position to where I'm at now, right now. You know what I mean? Just, I delivered. But I say, I put the work in too, though.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And I was just hooked, bro. I was hooked. And then I really started investing in my stuff. I started getting more equipment. You know what I mean? When I dig for records, of course I dig for vinyl records too as well. Even online, I'm digging on Bandcamp. I'm trying to find like what is something new? Yeah. What's some new music? I want to be. It's always, because me myself personally, when it comes to DJing, I don't like being a top 40 dude. I don't want to be that same college. No disrespect to anybody else, but it was just I wanted to make sure I stand out. And I heard that I forgot who said it, but he was like, okay, everybody DJ, but what's gonna make you different? What's gonna make you stand out between everybody else? And so that's when I was like, okay, let me just dig down and figure out, what's going to set me apart from everybody else. And honestly, it became my remixes, it became my edits, it became just me digging for different records that's still going to make sure everybody will still have a good time. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course, it's not going to be the same typical stuff, but 9 times out of 10, people still going to be dancing, people still going to be grooving, people still going to have a good time, and it's been proven. So
when the people are enjoying themselves, sometimes it don't matter what it is that they hear.
Facts.
Long as the vibe is vibing.
Facts.
One of the things that I recognize within what you're saying is our gift is gonna open doors for us. So but not only that, when we do the things that come natural to us, like the way you eased into this, you found out that was something that your pops did.
Never knew.
So it wasn't like it was this unnatural thing to you. The further you got into the things that felt natural to you, you found out more about your past.
That's
The more and more I started doing this, I found out that my dad used to write poetry.
See what I mean?
He wanted to be a comedian as well. I found out that my mom rapped. You know, I was writing raps. You know, so it would be funny because I would hear her say things, you know, like, you got that from me, right? And like say it jokingly. And like,
but she's serious.
Until one day my dad was telling me certain stories. Yeah. And then like as I'm bringing these things to my mom, I'm hearing certain things from her. Yeah. And I'm like, it's crazy. Even in what I do with curating art galleries and things like that, I went to visit family in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm finding out other family that was immersed in that, you know, same type of world. Yeah. So it's like these things that I'm doing, that you're doing, that come natural to us, you know, that are gifts and talents that we do so fluently, you know, within flow. It's been in our legacy. I mean, it's meant for us to be doing these things and take it steps further than even they did. Absolutely. You know, rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Dig that.
Hopefully my kids take it even further than me, you know.
As they should, whether it becomes because of your teaching, you know, them being under your tutelage, or them being able to have different type of resources because there were resources put in front of you.
Absolutely.
You know, and now you are able to gather your own resources.
Absolutely.
One of the things that took my music to the next level was I had one of my friends that had to come stay, you know, with me, and I didn't know how long he was going, you know, had to be there. He had to be there for a little bit longer, you know, than even discussed. But he brought his recording equipment, and he didn't necessarily have the finances to pay me. And he was like, "Listen, I'm about to leave, but you can keep all this equipment."
That's love.
That changed shit.
That's love, dog.
What? Because like
that's a real homie right there.
It took it from the space of like paying $30 an hour for studio sessions where it's like, all right, I gotta have everything written, and I gotta do everything in a certain type of way, so that I can make sure I maximize these 4 hours that I'm in here versus me sitting in my living room, burn one. I got National Geographic, Discovery Channel, Martin on mute on the TV while I'm sitting here recording. But
wait a minute, you said National Geographic and Martin. I like
possibly, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling, you know, whatever the day is.
However you feeling.
You know, if it's Shark Week, Sharks is all on the screen.
You know what I mean?
You know, but like I'd have these things on mute while I was recording.
For sure.
And I could do so many different takes of things. I could do things in a lower voice, in a high voice. I could play with things in a way that like my ear was trained musically to do. You know, so I was like, all right, man. So that took my music to a whole nother level. It took my comfortability. It took my experimentation to a whole nother level.
And then you get inspired any time of the day, man. Like without your equipment, like you can be inspired. Like, damn, no, I wish I could record this.
Right.
Now, like you inspired, you set up real quick. You know what I mean? So
I'm talking 3 p.m.
Yeah.
9 p.m. 4:37 a.m.
There you go.
I was working at a gas station on third shift, so I would get off 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would just have these ideas that was flowing all night. Or imagine working in a gas station in Winston-Salem from 11 to 7, all the different type of things I'm seeing, the conversations I'm having, you know, from people of all different types of walks of life, mainly the night walkers of many sorts. You know, so I'm hearing all these conversations that was translating into music. You know, because of my own experiences, but it was also like everywhere I go, people are comfortable with talking to me and sharing with me their experiences, and maybe I'm meant to share them with the world.
You know, like a journalist.
And that translated. So night vision. You know, we gonna continue to dive into it, but I got a few things before we wrap up here tonight.
Let's do it. I need to put my shades on when he said just night vision. You know, that's just hard.
What was your thoughts of the project?
Oh man, so when you gave me the idea, when you played me some of the joints, I'm in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, he said a mixtape. All right, I love certain mixtapes that kind of sound like albums, like Crit Was Here. I love the Wiz Khalifa's,
Cushion Orange
Juice. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I love the dedications and all that stuff like that. But with those, it kind of like you have to play those all the way through, right? You know, there was no skips. So I'm saying to myself, like, okay, what can I do that bring that feeling? And I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting there, I'm hitting the J. I'm sitting back. I'm literally right here on the same couch. I'm sitting back, hitting the J. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna tell some of my homies just to like send me some voice memos
mm-hmm.
of like asking for the album and stuff like that, you know. And I gave you the idea, and boom, 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 you send it right back to as well. So that's what kind of started, you know, the inspiration of the joints.
Mm-hmm.
Asking people looking for the music, you know what I mean? Asking for the joints, because I feel like that can kind of set you up anyway for a whole nother album, you know what I mean? Since that was just a mixtape, I'm gonna give y'all a little taste of something right there, you know what I mean? And that right there was just like, oh man, this could be something right here. Like I can even see, not even just on the album, but not even just on the mixtape, but on the album, like just, oh, that was just Night Vision 1.5. Wait till you hear the album with the joint like that. You know what I'm saying? But Night Vision, it was dope, man. Like your lyrics, your rhymes too, and I'm just gonna add a little flair here and there. I ain't really had to do too much because you had the sauce. You know what I mean? Like you had the sauce. I just kind of just add a little sprinkles here and there. You know what I mean? Just put a little salt over here, a little pepper over there. You know, just a little seasoning or whatever to stir the pot up.
Yeah.
And make that nice gumbo, bro. But nah, bro, you had the vision. You had the vision, and you gave me the idea, and I just wanted to execute on that. So,
for sure.
Yeah, man. That was a fun project, dude. And I can't wait to rock out so we can do some more.
Yeah, nah, you executed. I like that you mentioned Dedication and Cushion Orange Juice, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of mixtapes that I listen to, from the Trapper Dies to the Drop Threes, to all of Gucci's, you know what I mean, tapes, to all of Currency's tapes, his variety of tapes, 2 Chainz, like, man, so many different people, right? But what I had in my mind when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to X because I want somebody to, like, I want a real DJ up here. I want this to be a real mixtape feel. But I also was like, I know this gonna have an album feel too. And the 2 projects I had in mind was Dedication and Cushion Orange Juice. You know, because I felt like it was a combination of that. I felt like it was a combination of that sporadic Wayne, you know what I mean, doing this and that, you know what I mean, and taking over other people's beats and making them his, and just straight running through them joints and not even saying some of the same things twice. But the way Wiz joint, like you said, was I'm gonna play it from track 1, and I ain't gotta press a button until I get to the end.
And that's exactly, I swear, bro, that's exactly what I did, man. I really went back. I was playing Dedication 2. Like, I got Dedication 2 still on my laptop right now. I still got Cushion, the original, still on my laptop right now. And so playing those, I'm just sitting back playing those, just listen to them, get inspired, you know. I was like, he had like, Wiz had like the whole radio joint going on. I'm like, I don't wanna bite, you know what I'm saying? I just wanna get inspired. Hear the Dedication 2 when Wayne was just on different type of beats, and you know, you got Drama and Cannon up there just talking their shit. I'm like, I like that. And I don't wanna sound like him, but I wanna make sure I be me at the same time. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with getting inspired, you know, but I also wanna make sure I'm still sticking to my roots and still being myself and not biting by nobody, but still just being inspired by what they brought to the table.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
Well, I appreciate you. This just part 1. You know, for anybody that's looking, this just part 1 of a long series of these, because I got so many different questions to ask you about the tape and your process.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that first night I came and played you all 15 of them joints.
I was inspired.
All 14 of them, like, because I definitely want to, you know what I mean, speak on, like, even what that was like for me, like playing them for you and kind of being like, all right, I wonder where he's gonna go with certain ones, and then my anticipation of what is he about to do, because this is crazy. But
it was coming down to the wire too, yo. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It was coming down to the wire. It was fun, but we gonna talk more about it.
For sure. Well, part 1. I appreciate you, brother.
My brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Night Vision.
Come on, holla at me.